Many of you are moving around. Okay, so kindly be seated at one place. And first of all, I would like to thank all of you, okay, that you have chosen to be in this particular group of historic heroes. Yes, so before we begin, so today is our first session. You're going to have 7 more sessions like this. So before we begin, can we have one round of names of everybody? So I want everybody, okay, one by one, to tell their name, which historic hero do they like, and why they have joined this particular group, okay, of historic heroes. So, yes.
Prabhuji, you can just call out one name and they'll be unmuted.
Yes. Okay. So, Haripriya. So, we'll start with Haripriya. This is the first name that I can see here.
Prabhuji, I like Rani Lakshmi Bai.
You like Rani Lakshmi Bai. Okay. Very good. So, she is Haripriya. Okay. She likes Rani Lakshmi Bai. Okay. Dhanashri.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol. Yes, Dhanashri. Which historic hero do you like?
You don't know about any historic hero?
No problem.
I don't know.
No problem. No problem. So now, okay, you will start liking one by one, everybody. Okay. Yes, Radhika. Radhika Khare.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
My favorite historic hero is Shivaji Maharaj.
Oh, wonderful. Shivaji Maharaj. So today, actually, we are going to speak about Guru of Shivaji Maharaj. Okay. So today we are going to speak about Guru of Shivaji Maharaj. Yes. Swarup Damodar. Swarup Damodar Vaidya. Yes.
I like Maharana Pratap.
You like Maharana Pratap. Yes. I know why you like Maharana Pratap. Because your mother is also from Rajasthan. Yes, I know that. Okay. Kusha Agarwal. Yes, Kusha. Please unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, bolo bolo. Which historic hero do you like?
Prabhuji, I don't know any historic heroes.
You don't know any historic hero. No problem. Okay, so you will know about many historic heroes in this session, and thank you for joining.
Welcome.
Yeah, Vaishali. Sorry. Who is this? Sita. Yes, Sita. Sita Kashyap. Can you please unmute yourself?
Prabhuji, I can't see any Sita Kashyap here.
Here, Vaishali Sita. Okay, I think they are not able to get through this.
Yeah,
Okay.
Swarup? No.
Swarup, yeah, he has spoken.
Okay.
Okay, Krisha Mehta. Krisha Mehta, please unmute yourself.
Prabhuji, I like all historic heroes, not any one in particular.
Okay, not any one in particular. Everybody she likes. Okay, nice.
But can she name one?
Yes. Name any one of everybody whom you like. Yes, Krisha.
Anyone? Maharani Tarabai.
Maharani Tarabai. Oh, very nice. Okay, I can see someone with the name Kalash over here. Okay, I would like everybody to join with their name. Okay, everybody, I should see their name written over there, not their parents' name. Okay, so that we can easily identify you.
And also request all the children to on their videos.
Yeah,
Please.
please on your videos. Yes. Great to see all of you. Yes, I can't see Nitai. I can see Nityanand, I can see Nitya, but I can't see Nitai. Okay. I can see Vikas Shah. Haribol. Yes, we want to know which historic hero do you like?
Okay, I actually like all of them. So I'm actually a parent who has joined. My
Oh,
son
very
is
nice.
too young to join.
Yeah, no
Uh,
problem.
so, but anyways, I want to prepare myself
Yes,
with
yes.
all the
Thank you.
heroes for him.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining. Yes, Nityanand, who is your favorite hero? Yes, just unmute yourself. Acha. Okay, you're not able to get through us?
I'm just unmuting you, Nityanand. Just give me a
Yeah,
minute.
yeah, because I can see he's trying to speak.
Bhagat Singh.
Bhagat Singh, wow. So I think we're going to have a session on Bhagat Singh also. Yes. Okay, what about Nitya?
I actually like Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel.
You like Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Okay, okay. Bansari. Yes, Bansari, we can't see you.
Prabhuji, we can't see this name on our Bansari.
Acha,
Okay, got it.
Bansari.
Bansari. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
sorry.
Bansari. Okay, we will go ahead. Nimai and Nitai. Nimai and Nitai. Okay, Bansari.
Haribol Prabhuji,
Yes.
sorry, I was not able to unmute myself.
No problem. Yes, Bansari.
I like Shivaji Maharaj and Jhansi Ki Rani.
Shivaji Maharaj and Jhansi Ki Rani. Yes. The moment you say Shivaji Maharaj and Jhansi Ki Rani, I can see them both on their respective horses. Okay, that is the clear picture that comes in my mind. Yes, Nimai Nitai. Shivaji Maharaj. Okay. Shivaji Maharaj. Okay, very nice. Sita, we missed you. Yes. Acha, please unmute yourself.
Prabhuji, whom do you want me to unmute?
Yeah, Vaishali Sita Mehta.
Yes, so Prabhuji, can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you. Yes.
My favorite historic heroes are the Safekar brothers and like Ravindra Kaushik.
Oh, Ravindra Kaushik, Safekar brothers. Okay. Okay, Neel Madhav. Yes, I can see your name, Neel Madhav.
Yes, sir. I like Shivaji Maharaj.
You like Shivaji Maharaj. Okay. So you
Because
should.
they were very powerful.
He was very powerful. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay. I can see Narottam. Yes, Narottam. Narottam. Okay. He has sent on his chat Nirmaljit Singh Sekhon, Paramveer Chakra. Okay. Thank you so much. Chaitanya Bhide.
Hari Om.
Yes, Chaitanya. Whom do you like?
I like Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj because he was a very brave king.
He was a very brave king. Yes. Okay, so there are many who like Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. He is also my favorite. Yashvi. Yashvi Nirvika. Yashvi Nirvika. Okay. Samir Trivedi. Okay, so I think okay, they are not able to unmute themselves for some reason or the other. Sorry. Okay, so what we will do? Yes, so he's saying can't unmute. Yes, Prabhu, but we would like to know who is your favorite hero, favorite historic hero. Okay, he has sent Chanakya. Oh, okay, very, very unusual hero. Okay, but yes, he is also our historic hero. In fact, Swatantra Veer Savarkar in his book, okay, he mentions the first historic hero as Chanakya and Chandragupta Maurya only. Okay, so nice to be with all of you over here. Okay, so what we will do is we will quickly start with our session now. As we have already mentioned in the group also that today we will be taking on with Ramdas Swami, Samartha Ramdas Swami, and he was the guru of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, whom most of us have expressed their liking of. Okay, so let us go through this very famous and very important personality, okay, of Samartha Ramdas Swami. Okay, Samartha Ramdas Swami. So all of you be with me, and what we will do is, okay, I'm sure whenever this presentation goes, okay, you will have some or the other questions. So what we will do, we will keep all those questions for the end, and definitely I would love to answer your questions. Okay, just 1 minute. Yes. So, yes, let us, are you all able to hear me? Yes, so first of all, okay, let us enter into India. And I think most of you, I think there's one person who is from Bahrain, but otherwise, most of you are from India only. So that's why, yes. So first of all, we are going to enter into our Bharat Bhumi. Okay, Bharat Bhumi, which is also called as Punya Bhumi. And from in Bharat, we are going to enter the state of Maharashtra. Okay, we are entering into the state of Maharashtra. And in Maharashtra, there are many there are many districts, of which there is one district called as Jalna. Okay, I have not mentioned over here. Okay, Jalna. And in that district of Jalna, we have this beautiful village by the name Jamb. Okay, the name of the village is Jamb. So our historic hero of today, okay, you will find in the village of Jamb over here. Okay, now through this village of Jamb flows one of the rivers which flows through this village of Jamb is Godavari. And you know Godavari, where it originates? It originates at Trambakeshwar near Nasik. Okay, and Godavari from Nasik, which is in Maharashtra, flows through many states and ultimately enters into the Bay of Bengal. And you know, it covers around 1,500 kilometers. That is the extent of Godavari. Okay, so this is the river Godavari. Now, in this village of Jamb, lived two very, very holy personalities by the name Suryaji Pant Thosar and Ranubai Thosar. Okay, husband and wife. So Suryaji Pant Thosar and Ranubai Thosar, they were living in this village. Okay, this is, I'm talking about the 16th century. Okay, now they were very, very pure-hearted Deshastha Brahmins. They were Brahmins, and they were worshippers of Ram and worshippers of Surya Dev. Okay, Ram and Surya Dev. And so much so that you will be stunned to see the daily routine of Suryaji Panta. Okay, Suryaji Panta, every day he used to get up before sunrise, take his bath, okay, offer his worship to sun god. Then at sunrise, at sharp sunrise, he used to start his Surya Namaskar, and 108 Surya Namaskar every day, day in and day out he used to do. There was no break, okay, in his schedule of every day performing this Surya Namaskar. Every day he used to do Sandhya, which I'm sure those who have taken the Upanayan ceremonies, they must be knowing about this, Sandhya. He used to do Gayatri Japa. Afternoon, he used to again offer his respects to Surya Dev, and then he used to have his lunch. So this was the daily worshipable schedule that this Suryaji Panta used to offer. Now, many of them in the village, they used to consider Suryaji Panta as their guru. They used to come to him and they used to say, Suryaji Panta, please give us some guru mantra. We also want to become like you. We also want to become pure like you. And Suryaji Panta used to say, Arey, what guru mantra I can give? I am a simple householder. Okay, but still if you insist, take this guru mantra. Hiranya Garbhaya Namaha. This is the name of Surya Dev. So you chant this name every day and your life will be successful. So this is how he used to guide the people. And it is said that once when he was worshipping Surya Dev, Surya Dev himself came to him, Surya Narayan, and he told that I am so happy with your consistent devotional service unto me and unto Lord Ram. So I grant you a benediction that 2 wonderful sons will be born in your house. 2 wonderful sons will be born in your house. And he took, very humbly, he took this as the blessings of Surya Dev and waited for the right time. So the right time came, and soon a son was, a son was born in his house, and the name of the son he kept as Gangadhar. So he named the son as Gangadhar, and he remembered the blessings. He said, Surya Narayan Dev has told that one more son is going to be born in my house. And on the auspicious day of Ram Navami, was born a very, very beautiful son in 1608. Today, this year is 2020. So approximately about 400 years back, if you go, this Narayan son was born to him, to Suryaji Pant, in 1608. In 1608. So he was born exactly on Ram Navami day. And as usual, okay, the Zam was such a beautiful village that he had a very, very exciting childhood. He used to love playing in Godavari. He used to like climbing the trees. He used to never be at home. He used to like being with friends. He used to like playing dramas also. Okay, many of you also must be loving to play dramas. I know I have seen some of your dramas also. So he used to love playing dramas. And which was the character that he used to like playing in the dramas? It was none other than Hanuman. Hanuman was the Lord. Of course, Ramchandra was definitely the Ishtadev of Narayan. But the one character which was close to his heart was Hanumanji. So he used to love playing Hanumanji when he used to play the dramas. he used to like swimming, and of course, he used to like studying also. In fact, it is said that whatever the teachers taught him, at once he remembered. At once he remembered everything. So no one had to repeat the things for him. So in that case, he was called as Shrutidhar. Shrutidhar means once you hear it, you remember it for your lifetime. So in that way, he was Shrutidhar. And as it is done in all the Brahmin families, at the right age, okay, at the right age, he was also given the Brahminical thread. So when he was 7 years old, his father, Suryaji Panta, okay, and his elder brother, Gangadhar, they arranged for the nice Upanayan ceremony. And immediately after the Upanayan ceremony, he said, okay, father, I'm sorry, immediately after the Upanayan ceremony, he talked to his father and he said, father, you give Guru Mantra to everybody in the village. Why don't you also give a nice Guru Mantra to me also, which I will be chanting every day, day in and day out. So father said, you are very small right now. Okay, right now you just do Gayatri Jap, because that is what on the Upanayan day it was told to you. So right now you do the Gayatri Jap only. No, but Gayatri Jap is given to everybody. I want some special Guru Mantra which is given by you. So please give me some Guru Mantra. But father said, no, you are very, very small. Very, very small. So right now I cannot give you the Guru Mantra. And when he was about 9 years old, that time his father passed away. Now his friends, after the Upanayan ceremony, used to tease him now. Oh, now your Upanayan ceremony is done. Now the next thing that you're going to do is marriage. So now you're going to get married. Narayan, you're going to get married. But Narayan used to say, no, I'm not going to get married. I am going to be like Hanuman. Hanuman never got married, so I am also not going to get married. So the friends used to tease him, no, you have to get married. That's how your Upanayan has been done and all those things. Now the father, when he passed away, Narayan was just 9 years old. Just 9 years old. So what he did was, now when the father was not there, in those days, and even now also, when the father is not there, the elder brother is considered as father. So he went to his elder brother, Gangadhar, and he asked him, Gangadhar, he used to call him Gangadhar Dada. And Gangadhar Dada used to call Narayan as Narba, okay, in sweet ways. Like if someone's name is Nityanand, how they call Nitya? Oh, Nitai. So Vaise, this Narayan was called as Narba. So Narba or Narayan, he approached his elder brother and he said, elder brother, now you are like my father. At least you give me the Guru Mantra. So the elder brother said, I can't give you Guru Mantra. He said, why? He said, you are very small for a Guru Mantra right now. What you are telling that I am small? Okay, what was the age of Dhruv Maharaj when Narad Muni gave him the Guru Mantra? What was the age of Shankaracharya when he took sannyas? And like this, he started quoting the Shastras. He started talking about Dhruv. He started talking about Jnaneshwar Maharaj. He said, what time was it when Jnaneshwar Maharaj, he received the Guru Mantra from his elder brother? So if they could receive the Guru Mantra from their elder brothers, why are you not giving me? He said, no, I can't give you. I can't give you the Guru Mantra. You are very small for that now. So he was quite dejected. And finally he decided, I will approach the Lord of my heart, Hanumanji. I will approach the Lord of my heart, Sri Ramji. And let me see what they have to tell me. So one day in the middle of the night, he walked up the hill in his village and there was a Hanuman temple in that village on the hilltop. So in the middle of the night, he approached Hanumanji in the village, in that temple. And he started speaking to Hanumanji. There was a Vigraha of Hanumanji over there. There was a Murti of Hanumanji. He started speaking to Hanumanji. Hanumanji, I asked my father. He didn't give me Guru Mantra. I even asked my brother. He didn't give me Guru Mantra. Now my only shelter is you. please give me Guru Mantra, please give me Guru Mantra. And he kept his head on the feet of Hanumanji. On the feet of Hanumanji, and he said, I am not going to go away from this temple unless and until you give me the Guru Mantra. 1 hour went by, 2 hours went by, 3 hours went by. Now it was the time for the pujari to come and open the temple. And Hanumanji said, now enough is enough. This boy is so genuine. I would like to give him the Guru Mantra. And Hanumanji appeared before him from the deity, and he said, Oh Narayan, I am giving you the Guru Mantra. The Guru Mantra is Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. So from today onwards, you can start chanting Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. And that boy, Narayan, he felt so happy that, oh, I have been accepted by Hanumanji. And he was a completely changed boy after that. Please remember, he was just 9 years old at that time. He was just 9 years old. So his life changed. He became quite serious. And his seriousness really affected the mother and the brother. And they said, my God, Gangadhar started speaking to the mother and said, my God, our Narba has changed completely. I don't know what has happened to him. So he said, yes. I think we will have to start making talks about his marriage now. So they started talking to Narba about the marriage. Now the mother started talking to him about marriage. He said, okay, I am looking out for a daughter to be married to you. So my brother stays in the adjacent village. So I am going to ask him to give his daughter in marriage to you, Narayan. So are you ready for it? Narayan said, nothing doing. I'm not going to marry. I want to live like Hanumanji. He said, but you can't do that. You have to get married. And Narayan just ran away from the house. The mother started chasing Narayan. Brother started chasing Narayan. And all the villagers started chasing Narayan. And Narayan crossed over Godavari, went to the other side, and he climbed up a tree. And there were some expert swimmers. They also ran after Narayan. And they also started climbing the tree. Narayan said, please don't climb the tree. If you climb the tree, then I will jump off from the tree. He said, oh, you are just talking. No one has the guts to jump from such a big tree. And when the people started actually climbing the tree, Narayan realized, now they are going to catch me. And with full daring, he jumped off from the tree and he fell into Godavari River. He fell into Godavari River, and unfortunately he got hit on his forehead by a stone. By a stone he got hit on his forehead, and from that day onwards there was always the swelling on his forehead. In Marathi we call it as Tengul. Okay, in Marathi we call it as Tengul. So there was a permanent swelling which happened on the forehead of Narayan. And the mother forcibly took Narayan to the house and said, Narayan, don't do like this. She started crying. And she told Narayan, Narayan, please don't run away from the house like this. And please don't disagree for the marriage. I want you to stand for the marriage. I want you to stand for the marriage. And Narayan said, okay, mother, I will stand for the marriage. And the day arrived when he was around 12 years old. The day arrived when the marriage was about to take place. So this is how a typical Maharashtrian marriage takes place. Okay, there was Narayan standing on one side. There was his to-be wife standing on the other side. And they held, okay, this is called as Antarpat. They held in between both of them. And as they were chanting the mantras, Narayan started looking at the mother. And he said to the mother, Mother, you told me to stand for the marriage. I have stood for the marriage. And the mother was very happy. And the moment the pujari, the bhadji, uttered the mantra, Shubha Mangala Savadhan, that time Narayan decided, now I have to run from here. And as the whole ceremony of the marriage was taking place, Narayan, with all his might, with all his energy, with all his enthusiasm, just ran away from there. And people were bewildered. My God, the boy has ran away. Now what to do? They all started chasing him, but Narayan was so fast. He immediately crossed over Godavari. He immediately started running from there. And then soon people realized that we will never be able to catch him now. So that was the day. He was just 12 years old. At those times, marriages used to happen at that age. So Narayan just ran away from there. And through Godavari only, he started running, sometimes walking for hours and for days he was walking. And finally, he came in a beautiful village of Nasik. Now, why did he come to Nasik? Because Nasik was the very place where Ramachandra, Lakshman, and Sita Maiya were there in Treta Yuga. So in Treta Yuga, when all of them were given of 14 years of exile, that time they had come to Nasik. And there is a beautiful temple of Lord Ram in Nasik. So he decided to come to Nasik. He came to Nasik and he decided that now I will do some tapascharya over here. And he decided that he will take shelter of Lord Ramachandra. But he soon found that there were so many people who were coming to that temple that he saw them as a source of disturbance. So he decided, no, this is not the place of my tapascharya. I will take the blessings of Ramachandra but go somewhere else. And he went to the nearby village by the name Takli. Okay, he went to the nearby village by the name Takli, where there was a beautiful confluence of two rivers, Godavari and Nandini. So he chose that as his place of tapascharya. It was so calm, it was so serene, it was so cool. And he didn't know, what should I do tapascharya on? What should I pray for Lord Ram? And then out of his heart, spontaneously, came these words as prayers to Lord Ram. Komal vacha de de Ram, Vimala karni de de Ram, Prasanga olakhi de re Ram, Dhurt kala maz de re Ram. Okay, if we would have had time, we would have discussed the meaning of this whole verse also. But sufficient to tell you that he was telling Ramachandra that give me everything that I can use in your service. If it is Komal Vacha, that means it is sweet words. Please give it to me. Okay, please give me a mind which is very pure. Please give me the mind which will work for others' happiness. So everything he was. And at last he said, just make me your servant. Just make me the way you want me to be there. I want to work for you. I want to spread your message. Please give me everything that is needed for that. And with that prayer, he started his tapascharya. And what was his daily routine? My God, if you hear his daily routine, you will be amazed. You will be shocked. His daily routine was standing on one leg in the river of Godavari and Nandini. He used to do this till lunchtime. That time he used to do Gayatri. He used to do Ram Nam Jap. Hanumanji had given him Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram. So he used to do the japa of that also. Then after lot of time was spent on this, then he used to go to the nearby village. He used to do Madhukari. What does Madhukari mean? Madhukari means he used to go and beg, okay, at least in 4 to 5 houses. And whatever they used to give him, he used to just accept them. 1/3 of the portion that he used to get, he used to feed the cows. 1/3 of the portion that he used to get, he used to feed the fishes in the river. And in 1/3, he used to have his daily lunch meal. And then he used to do a lot of Shastra Adhyan. He used to read Ramayana, he used to read Mahabharata, he used to read Gita, he used to read Bhagavad. Many granthas he used to read. Not only that, he used to go to Nasik in the evening. He used to hear from the sadhus in Nasik also. And he started writing his commentary on Ramayana. Can you believe it was only 12 years of age? He was only 12 years of age. That means if you look at it, that means he was hardly in 7th or 8th standard that time. Hardly 7th and 8th standard. So that time he used to do all this tapasya. And his tapasya, students, children, and parents used to come over there of that village, and they used to mock at him. Oh, this boy, he doesn't want to study. Oh, this boy, he doesn't want to marry. Oh, this boy, he doesn't want to take the responsibility. That is why he has run away from the place and doing all these things. He simply tolerated it. But that didn't shake him. That didn't shake him from his determination, because he was very, very clear. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha gurunandana. This is what I want to do. And that's why he tolerated all these words which were told by the villagers and continued with his daily routine. Thereafter, when he attained the age of 15 years, a chamatkar happened over there. Okay, you will be stunned to see this chamatkar. From the nearby village, there was a person named Giridhar Kulkarni and the wife Annapurna. Now what happened was, this Giridhar Kulkarni, he basically died a very, very immature death. He died. He was very, very young, but unfortunately he died. And the wife Annapurna was left all alone with no children. And Giridhar Kulkarni was taken, his body was taken by the villagers, and somehow or the other they came to the place. They came very much to the place where Narayan was doing his tapasya. And Narayan had, just some time ago he had retired from his tapasya, and he saw that, okay, these villagers are taking the body of someone, and they kept the body on the log of woods over there. And this wife Annapurna was about to go for sati. Okay, now what is this sati? That means she was about to jump into the same fire which was about to burn the body of Giridhar Kulkarni. That was the pratha that time in India. Okay, it was not a compulsory pratha. The wife herself used to choose, okay, doing this. So wife was about to go for sati. The villager said, okay, anyways, your husband has died. You are about to go for sati. I think there is one Sadhu Baba, okay, very young Sadhu Baba of hardly 15 years of age. He is doing tapasya over there. Why don't you take the blessings of him and then go for sati? Annapurna said, okay, as you say. So wife Annapurna, with folded palms and with complete humility, she approached Narayan. Narayan was still doing his tapasya, closing his eyes. And she bowed down in front of Narayan and she said, Sadhu Baba, Namaskar. Without even opening the eyes, Narayan said, Ashtaputra Saubhagyavati Bhava. And when Annapurna heard that, she laughed. She was actually very sad, but she laughed. And she said, Swamiji, what kind of blessings have you given to me? You know, with this body is of my husband. He has died. And I am about to go for sati. And you have given me the Ashirvad, Ashtaputra Saubhagyavati. How is that possible? Narayan opened his eyes and he himself was very shocked. He said, actually, the blessing just came out of my mouth. Actually, I am not the person who has given the blessings. It is Prabhu Ramachandra who is seated in my heart. He just gave the blessings through me. So since he has given the blessings through me, Ramchandra Prabhu's blessings will not go in vain. Show me where is your husband. And Annapurna Devi took Narayan to the husband. Annapurna was just witnessing what was going on. And Narayan, out of the Kamandalu, he took some water. He chanted the names of Lord Ram and he sprinkled the water on Giridhar Kulkarni. And much to the amazement of the villagers and much to the amazement of the wife Annapurna, Giridhar Kulkarni, he just got up from dead. He just got up. And as soon as he got up, he paid obeisances to Narayan and he said, "Thank you very much." And Narayan said, "Don't thank me, thank Prabhu Ramachandra, because it is only by his blessings that he has given you a new life. So dedicate your full life now in the service of Lord Ramachandra." So Giridhar Kulkarni said, "Oh Narayan ji, oh Narayan Swami, I want to give away everything of mine to you. Please take everything that belongs to me." He said, "No. You go to your house, do your prapancha, okay, perform your duties as a grahastha very nicely. If at all you want to give me something, the first son that you get, name him Uddhav and give him to me. Give him to me." And that same thing happened. The first was the son. His name was Uddhav. His name was Uddhav. And this Uddhav became so favorite of Narayan that once Uddhav told that, "Oh, you always chant the names of Hanuman, you always chant the names of Ram. Please, I want a deity of Hanumanji." And out of cow dung, Ramdas Swami, Narayan made this deity of Hanumanji. And he gave it away to Uddhav and he said, "This is your worshipable deity." So this was the first Hanumanji that he made out of cow dung. And of course, okay, everybody in the village started calling him Ramdas. So Narayan now became Ramdas. And Narayan, not for 1 year, not for 2 years, not for 3 years, not for 10 years, 12 years he did this tapasya. 12 years. And he said, "I have done so much of tapasya by the grace of the Lord Ram, by the grace of Hanumanji. Now I think I have to see what is going on in India. What is going on in India?" So for the first 12 years of his life, he was in his small village of Zamb. For the next 12 years of his life, he was in Takali, the village near Nasik, where he did his tapasya. And now he decided that I will tour all over India. So he decided, now I want to do Bharat Brahman. So when he decided that, he was around 24 years of age. 24 years of age. And now please understand, when he's touring India, it is not that he has taken a Volvo car. Okay, and now chalo, I have a driver with me, I have a car. Now, chalo, petrol bharo, diesel bharo, chalo abhi. No, the whole of the journey, he decided to go on foot. That means he was about to walk through the entire of India. Can you believe it? When I read it for the first time, it was beyond my belief. Walking throughout India. And you know for how many years did he do so? He did it for 12 years. That means for 12 years, he was walking all around India. With Kamandalu in his hand. And with the support that he requires, okay, to do tapasya. So with those two things, okay, that in Marathi they call it as kubdi. I don't know what they call in English, but with these two things, the kubdi and Kamandalu, and with wearing kopin, that's all. That was what he used to wear. That's all, kopin. He started traveling all over India. And my God, such an exciting journey it was. Such an exciting journey. He first went to Kashi. Then he went to Prayag. Then he went to Gaya. Again, somehow or the other, the Lord directed him to come to Kashi back again. He came to Kashi back and he built another Hanuman temple over there. And whenever and wherever he used to go, he used to do tapascharya, he used to do madhukari, he used to chant the Lord's names, and he used to preach. He used to preach about Lord Ram and Lord Hanuman. Then soon he wanted to go to the birthplace of Lord Ramachandra. So he traveled all the way to Ayodhya. And he was so happy that the Lord of his heart was finally where he could see. But simultaneously, he was very sad also, because at the very birthplace of Lord Ramachandra, there was a mosque, there was a masjid which was built by that time Muslim rulers. So he was very, very unhappy to see that. He said, oh, when will Lord Ramachandra get his original temple? And he was crying because of that. Soon he left Ayodhya, he went to Vrindavan, he went to Mathura. His touring continued. He went to Prabhas Kshetra, which is also the Kshetra of the pastimes of Lord Krishna. He went to Dwarka. He went to Badrinath. He went to Kedarnath. That means now he was in Himalayas. Huh? Now he was absolutely in Himalayas. Badrinath, Kedarnath. And there he heard about one of his favorite murtis of Hanumanji, and that was called as Shweta Maruti. It was called as Shweta Maruti. So he approached deep in the Himalayas was this murti of Shweta Maruti. So he approached over there. He thanked Hanumanji. Hanumanji, you gave me the mantra Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram when I cried at your lotus feet. Now I have come to take the shelter of you. I have come to take the shelter of you. Okay, but before going over there, I forgot to tell you, before going over there, he went to Srinagar also. And he happened to meet over there Hargovind Singh Ji. Now Hargovind Singh Ji was a sadhu, descendant of Guru Nanak Ji. Okay, he was the sadhu descendant of Guru Nanak Ji. But when Ramdas Swami met him over there, he was surprised because he was a sadhu, he was a descendant of Guru Nanak, but he was actually a king, and he was wearing the robes of the king. He had richness over there. He had lot of army over there, and he was surprised. And he spoke to Hargovind Singh Ji. Hargovind Singh Ji, what type of sadhu are you? Okay, you are having all the richness. You are having this entire Chaturangi Sena. Okay, you have a palace, you have everything, and still you call yourself a sadhu. And he gave a beautiful mantra to Ramdas Swami. He said, Ramdas Swami, I am a sadhu at heart, but I am sannyas, I am kshatriya from outside. So he said, why there is a need to be like this? You can be sadhu from within, you can be sadhu from without. He said, Ramdas Swami, you are touring the whole of India. What are you observing in India? Can you see so many outside rulers have come to India and they are destroying India? They are destroying India. So if we remain in the garbs of sadhu, then they will kill everybody and they will convert everybody. So we have to be kshatriyas also. So Ramdas Swami said, you have today opened my eyes. You have today opened my eyes. Your mantra of being sadhu from within and kshatriya from outside has really touched my heart. I don't know whether I will be able to be a kshatriya from outside, but I will definitely try to support a kshatriya. I will definitely try to support a kshatriya. And Hargovind Singh Ji's meeting with Ramdas Swami was again the next turning point in his life. Because the promise that he gave to Hargovind Singh Ji is that I will remain a sadhu in my heart, but I will support a kshatriya. And that is how he became the guru of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Ki Jai. And that is how he decided that I will become the guru of Shivaji Maharaj. Thereafter, he continued his journey. I told you, he went to Shweta Maruti in Himalayas, and there he met Hanumanji. He met Hanumanji. He was so pure at heart that he could really meet Hanumanji. First, he met Hanumanji in the temple of his own village, where he got the mantra from Hanumanji. And the next time he met Hanumanji at Shweta Maruti in Himalayas. And Shweta Maruti, he humbly asked him, "Ke Hanumanji, who am I? What is my ashram? Okay, I am confused. Please tell me what is my ashram." He said, "You are a sannyasi. You are a sannyasi. And now I am giving you this saffron clothes. Now don't wear this only kopin. Okay, try to cover up yourself with this saffron clothes also." And that was the day he officially became Ramdas Swami. So he took the order of sannyas. He took the order of sannyas from directly Hanumanji only. So that was the sea change in his life again. So Ramdas Swami, who was always in his kopin, now he became dressed as a sannyasi. Okay, he took this saffron clothes. Okay, saffron clothes. And we will see how this saffron clothes helped him in the future also. So thereafter, he continued his journey. He went to Jagannath Puri, he went to Tirupati, he went to Sri Shailam, Kishkinda, Karveer, Pandharpur. Oh, when he went to Pandharpur, amazing. Pandharpur, when he saw Vithalji, he said, "Vithalji, okay, you are just standing with your hands on your waist. I want you to become like Ramji, okay, and carry a Dhanushyaban, because our India now needs Dhanushyaban." And to his utter surprise, Vithalji, just to satisfy him, took the form of Sri Ramachandra, gave him the darshan, and he said, "I have taken this form because of my devotee Pundarik." Okay, so that's why I have to remain in this position only with my hands on the waist. So I gave you darshan because you are such a dear devotee of Lord Ramachandra and Hanumanji. So I gave you the darshan. So he came back to Panchavati. He came back to Panchavati in Nasik. He thanked Ramachandra ji to make his journey possible. Can you believe 12 years he toured all of the India on foot, only walking? What he must have eaten, where he would have slept, that only Prabhu Ramchandra knows. Only Prabhu Ramchandra knows that. Hanumanji knows. Okay, finally he came to the village of Paithan. And Paithan mein he was giving a discourse for all the villagers over there. And in Paithan, when he was giving the discourse, there were some people who were sitting over there from his old village of Zamb. And they started talking to each other. They said, "Arey, this Swamiji, I don't know why I'm feeling that he must be Narayan who ran away from the marriage." So the other people said, "Arey, how do you know that he is Narayan? He is having such big hair. He is having mustache. He is having beard, and he is in saffron clothes. How did you recognize that he is Narayan?" "Arey, you see the mark on his forehead. You remember when Narayan had jumped in the Godavari, he also had similar mark on the forehead. By seeing that mark on the forehead, by seeing the swelling on the forehead, I somehow or the other believe that he must be the same Narayan. What we will do, we will call him to our village, okay, to give a discourse like this, to give a lecture like this." So after the program, they went to Ramdas Swami and they said, "Please come to our village." And Ramdas Swami said, "Which village are you from?" He said, "Zamb." And the moment he heard Zamb, he started reflecting on his childhood pastimes. Oh, the first 12 years. "Yes, I will come." And he started running to the village of Zamb. Okay. And finally he came to the village of Zamb. And some or the other from the villagers, he came to know that Narayan's mother, Ranubai, just by crying for Narayan, she had become blind. So much she was crying, day in and day out she was crying, that she became blind. So when Ramdas Swami heard this, "Oh, my mother She became blind because of me. He came to the doorsteps of his mother. He came to the doorsteps of his mother and he said, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Jai Jai Raghuveer Samartha. Okay, Om Bhavati Bhikshan Dehi. And his elder brother Gangadhar's wife came to give him bhiksha. And Ramdas Swami said, I don't want just bhiksha. I want to take the darshan of your mother-in-law. And the wife of Gangadhar was amazed to hear this. And he said, oh, there is someone who wants to meet you only. Oh, my mother-in-law. So the mother-in-law, she was anyways blind. She came over there. Somehow the other, walking very slowly, she came at the door. And Ramdas Swami again uttered the word, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram. And somehow or the other, she could recognize the voice. And he said, Narba, oh, you are there. So Ramdas Swami fell at the feet of his mother. And the mother was so overjoyed to meet Ramdas Swami, her own Narba, her own Narayan, after 24 years. 12 years he was doing tapascharya in Nasik, and 12 years he was touring the whole of India. So the mother was meeting after 24 years. Ramdas Swami felt so compassionate to his mother that he decided that by the yoga shakti that he has developed for so many years of tapascharya, he took the jal from the Kamandalu, and with that jal he took the name of Lord Ram and he sprinkled on the eyes of the mother. And to everyone's surprise, Ramdas Swami's mother got back her vision. She not only got back her eyes, she got the vision also. And she was so happy, so overjoyed. And Ramdas Swami spent about 2 to 3 months with his mother, with his brother, with his brother's wife, and all of them were very happy. And Ramdas Swami said, you know, mother, India is so much in distress. India needs to really revive from where it was originally. So I have to do something for my motherland. I have to do something for the country. So please allow me to go. The mother was unwilling to send Ramdas again. He said, after 24 years you have come, and just after 24 months you are leaving. Please stay over here only in Jam and do all the activities that you want to do. So Ramdas Swami said, it is not possible. I have to go out. I have to preach to the people. And that's how he decided to leave. He said, mother, you know, there is one king by the name Shivaji Maharaj over here. He is not yet the king, but he is fighting for the Swaraj to be established over here. You know, he is the only son of Jija Mata. He is the only son of Jija Mata. Her elder son has died, and she is willing to sacrifice her son for Swaraj. You have at least 2 sons. You have elder Gangadhar. He is married. He will be having children. They will take your vansh ahead. So please allow me to go and do something for my motherland. Do something for dharma. Do something for the country. So with a heavy heart, but with full blessings, the mother allowed. The mother allowed. And thereafter it was such a dynamic journey of Ramdas Swami. For the 12 years that he was touring India, he saw that people are suffering under the foreign rule. He saw that many of them have got sold out to the other countries, especially the Matajis. Okay, they were being abducted and they were sold out to the other countries. Many of them had accepted the faith of the outsiders, okay, the Muslims, much beyond their control. The Muslims were destroying the temples. There was looting everywhere. And when he went to Goa, he entered into the temple. He entered into the temple, and in that temple, he asked the pujari, what is the name of this deity? So he said, the name of the deity is Shanta Durga. He said, why the Durga is Shanta over here? There is so much thing happening in the country. Okay, you have to pray to Lord Durga to give her blessings to the Kshatriya kings in our country. And that was the time he decided, now I will go to Shivaji Maharaj and I will guide him to rule the country and to see to it that these Muslim rulers are kept at bay. And this was his experience on touring India. So he started again touring India. He started constructing temples where the people feel sheltered, they feel prayerful, they feel dependent on the Lord. He established 11 Hanuman temples. Okay. Then he started also the Vyayam Shala. Vyayam Shala means where people come and do some good exercise for the body, become strong so that they can fight against the Mughals. Okay. This is not maths. Huh? This is mutts. Okay. So he also established mutts. He also established Upasana Kendras where people could come and perfect their lives. He made disciples all over the country and he started empowering them. Okay, he told everybody that you have to be spiritually absorbed. You have all to be spiritually absorbed because there is no other way but bhakti. You have to be spiritually absorbed, but you have to also be politically alert. Okay, you have to know what is going on in the country. Okay, then only you will be able to help the country. And you should also be socially sensitive. You have to see what the people are requiring. So these 3 mantras he gave to all his disciples all over the country. He came to Mahabaleshwar. Okay, he established a Hanuman temple over there also. He made disciples over there also. And such a beautiful confluence of Krishna river, Vena river, Koina river, Gayatri river, Savitri river. He established a Hanuman temple over there. He came to Vai, which is near Satara. He also established a Hanuman temple over there. He came to Mahuli, which is again near Satara. In fact, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj have also gone to this temple in Vai. He went to Jarandeshwar. Now this Jarandeshwar is the same place where when Hanumanji in Treta Yuga was carrying the Parvat, okay, for his Sanjeevani booty, a part of the Parvat, it fell over here. Okay, the name of the place is Jarandeshwar. Okay, he established temples over there. But his most significant contribution was establishing the Ram temple at Chafad. Okay, it is in Maharashtra, very near to Satara. He established the Ram temple over there. And there is a long story of how the Ram deities came over there. Okay, we don't have so much of time to discuss that in great detail. But after this Chafad's temple was established and Ramdas Swami became famous all over Maharashtra, in fact, all over India. Okay, but more so in Maharashtra. So he had decided that he will make Maharashtra as his base. And Shivaji Maharaj came to meet him. And Shivaji Maharaj, with all his heart and with all his tan, man, dhan, say, he became the disciple of Ramdas Swami. And Ramdas Swami personally decided to guide him how to rule Maharashtra and how to build a Rajya based on Dharma and call it as Swaraj. So actually, once Ramdas Swami, he just came to the house of Shivaji Maharaj and he shouted, Om Bhavati Bhikshan Devi. Okay, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Jai Jai Raghuveer Samartha. And Shivaji Maharaj came running out of his house and he said, Maharaj, what do you want? Swamiji, what do you want? I am ready to hand over this entire thing, entire house, entire village to you. He said, don't do that. I am not here to rule over villages. I am just over here to guide people and guide you especially. So you rule on my behalf. You rule. Okay. And if at all you want to give something to me, see to it that the flag that you have for Swaraj is of saffron color. The flag that you use for Swaraj is of saffron color. So that is why you will find that the Swaraj flag was based on the dress of Swami Ramdas. Okay, saffron color. Because saffron indicates the garb of a sannyasi, the garb of a brahmachari, the garb of dharma. So he decided to have his flag of that color. In fact, you won't believe that Ramdas Swami, his disciples used to help Shivaji Maharaj as spies. That means some disciples used to carry a message from some people. They used to walk, give it to the next disciples. They used to carry to the next disciples. They used to carry to the next disciples. And this is how the news used to reach Shivaji Maharaj. So many of the news that Shivaji Maharaj used to get was from the disciples of Ramdas Swami. Ramdas Swami, you remember when he met Hargobind Singh, what did he say? That in my heart I will be a sadhu, but from outside I will support, I will guide a Kshatriya. And that is what he was doing. And much because of Ramdas Swami's continuous guidance, he got so much of guidance from Ramdas Swami and Tukaram Maharaj that soon he established Swaraj. Soon he established Swaraj, and he became Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. In the year 1674, he became Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Ramdas Swami continued guiding him. And for Ramdas Swami, Shivaji Maharaj gave one full fort, okay, called Sajjangarh. He said, Ramdas Swami, please reside over here. Please reside over here. And Ramdas Swami, when he found that Shivaji Maharaj has attained Swaraj, Shivaji Maharaj has done everything for the Swaraj, he started writing books. And so many books he has written. He has written Manache Shlok. He has written Karunashtaka. Okay. He has written even Ganpati Ka Aarti. Can you believe that? The Ganpati Aarti, which is spoken every time during Ganesh Utsav. Sukha karta, dukha harta, varta vignachi, nurvi purvi prem krupa jayachi. So that Aarti was written by Ramdas Swami. Now this Ramdas Swami, he had, for all his writings, he had one of his favorite disciples helping him. His name was Kalyan. Okay, his name was Kalyan. Okay, so we will just wind up in about 5 minutes. So his name was Kalyan. This Kalyan was such a favorite disciple of Ramdas Swami. He had such a beautiful handwriting that Ramdas Swami used to speak and Kalyan used to write. Ramdas Swami used to speak and Kalyan used to write. And they used to love all this, doing all this writing work inside a cave. Inside a cave. Okay, so many of the Ramdas Swami's Tapascharya, his writings, everything happened in caves. Okay, everything happened in caves. So there's one beautiful story. I love this story very much. There's one beautiful story regarding this Kalyan Swami. This Kalyan Swami, he was basically he joined as a disciple to Ramdas Swami, and he said that I am willing to give up my life for you. And he didn't just say it, he meant it also. And once Ramdas Swami, he understood that all his other disciples are feeling envious of Kalyan. They are saying that I am trying to give more attention to Kalyan rather than all of them. So once Ramdas Swami, he came shouting, okay, he came shouting in the ashram. And all the disciples came over there and said, Swamiji, what happened to you? Why are you shouting? Said, you don't know? I have developed such a big boil on my leg. It is of the size of a ball. It is the size of a ball. So much of a big boil I have developed. So they said, Ramdas Swami, Swamiji, we will cure it immediately. We will bring some herbs. So I said, don't you think that I have done all these things? I have gone to the Vaidya. I have gone to all the doctors, Hakim, everything, everywhere I went. And they are saying there is only one way this boil can be cured. So all the disciples asked, what way, Ramdas Swami, what way? Said, if one of my disciples decides to suck the boil with his own mouth, then this boil will be cured. Now, the moment the disciples heard, my God, you have to suck the boil, that big boil, you have to suck it with your own mouth. They felt disgusted. They said, Swamiji, there must be some other way. He said, no other way, no other way, no other way. This is the only way that the Vaidya has recommended. And they have also said that the one disciple who sucks the boil with his own mouth, that disciple is going to die. So the moment Kalyan heard this, he came running to Ramdas Swami and he said, where is your boil? Where is your boil? I want to suck it. And Ramdas Swami showed the boil to him. And that boil was covered with saffron cloth. He had tied the boil with the saffron cloth. And Kalyan, with his own mouth, he started vigorously sucking the boil that Ramdas Swami showed. And Ramdas Swami asked Kalyan, what do you feel? What do you feel, oh Kalyan? What do you feel? Kalyan said, Swamiji, I felt that you should have more such boils and I should suck all those boils. Ramdas Swami said, what nonsense are you speaking? Why are you saying like this? Because Swamiji, your boil is tasting like a mango. So all the disciples were taken aback. My God, what is he speaking? And they removed the saffron cloth from the leg and they were astonished to see actually Ramdas Swami had planted a mango over there. Not planted, he had tied up the mango over there and he had just covered it with saffron. And Ramdas Swami said to all the disciples, just you saw, okay, how Kalyan was even willing to give up his life for sucking the boil. So all the disciples, they unanimously felt, oh, Kalyan is actually the best disciple of Ramdas Swami. And with his help, Swamiji wrote many books over there. If you just type on Google, books written by Ramdas Swami, beautiful, Karunashtake, Manache Shlok, it is famous all over Maharashtra, especially those who are Maharashtrians. They just cannot not know Manache Shlok. Okay, such beautiful shlokas he has written as the prayers from his mind. Finally, when Shivaji Maharaj, okay, died in 1680, he really could not bear the separation from Shivaji Maharaj. But he took it a point, he made it a point that he has to guide Sambhaji Maharaj also, who was the son of Shivaji Maharaj. And from time to time, he counseled, okay, he preached to Sambhaji Maharaj also. And he reminded Sambhaji Maharaj about Shivaji Maharaj, how glorious was his. And he has sent a lot of letters to Sambhaji Maharaj also. That is also a beautiful writing. He wrote many shlokas on Shivaji Maharaj also. Okay, never had any Swami written shlokas on a king. But for him, Shivaji Maharaj was sadhu from inside and kshatriya from outside. So you can actually Google it out. The verses written by Ramdas Swami on Shivaji Maharaj. Such beautiful verses praising Shivaji Maharaj as if he had 5 mouths. So such was the glorious departure of Ramdas Swami. So much he gave to the whole of India. And most crucially that time was having Swaraj, where he guided Shivaji Maharaj. So that was his beautiful contribution to our dharma and to our Kshatriya community. So Samartha Ramdas Swami Ji ki jai. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for giving a patient hearing. Okay. I am really very sorry if I have gone over time, but such are the glories of these glorious personalities that you cannot not speak about them. So thank you very much. And yes, I would be really happy to answer your doubts. I could not really see your chats because I myself was traveling with Ramdas Swami throughout India. Okay. So yes, if you have any doubts, okay. How did, yeah, Yashvi Nirvika, they are asking, how did he guide for Swaraj? Yes. So as I told you in between, that his disciples were really acting like spies, okay, who used to give important information to Shivaji Maharaj. Okay. In fact, there is one kshetra called as Zavali in Maharashtra only. That complete kshetra was under the control of one person called as Chandra Rao More. Chandra Rao More, and he was the person of Adil Shah. Now that was a very important location which Shivaji required, and Ramdas Swami stayed purposefully near that Zavali village just so that he can give information to Shivaji Maharaj. Just so that he can give information to Shivaji Maharaj. So this is how he guided. And many of his disciples, okay, the disciples, not only he trained them in Shastras, but I told you that he had opened up Vyayam Shalas also, where people used to exercise. And many of the people who used to exercise ultimately went into the army of Shivaji Maharaj. So this is how also he helped. So in many ways, he helped Shivaji Maharaj. In fact, Shivaji Maharaj always gives the credit to Tukaram Maharaj and Ramdas Swami for all, and of course, all the Mavadas that helped him. Okay, Tukaram Maharaj and Ramdas Swami Maharaj for their guidance, for their support, for their vision, and all the Mavadas for their active support in fighting with the Mughals. Yes, what happened to Uddhav? Okay, again a nice question. Uddhav, as I told you, that he was the first disciple. So he continued to be a Grahastha preacher, and he also took on the legacy of Ramdas Swami. He also helped Ramdas Swami establish many of the mutts and training people over there. And eventually his children also went into this, and he also did a lot of prachar. Yes, Bansari is asking, were Ramdas Swami and Tukaram Maharaj in the same period? And are both of them considered Shivaji's gurus? Yes, they were of the same time. Okay, Jnaneshwar Maharaj and all, they were all before Shivaji Maharaj. Okay, but luckily, Tukaram Maharaj, Ramdas Swami and Shivaji Maharaj, they all existed during the same time. Yes, Hari Priya is asking, can we also chant Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram? Okay, yes, you can chant Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, but I think your parents have already given you the Guru Mantra. Okay, and Srila Prabhupada has given his Guru Mantra also to all of us. That is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Srila Prabhupada is all of us Jagat Guru. So he has given us the Guru Mantra. What happened to Kalyan? Yes, Kalyan, till the end of his life, he continued to be the servant, the disciple, the faithful, loyal, and sold out disciple of Ramdas Swami. And even after his departure, he continued preaching the way Ramdas Swami used to preach. And of course, he eventually left his body. And if you won't believe, Ramdas Swami's followers still exist all over Maharashtra, They are all called as Ramdasis. Okay, they are all called as Ramdasis. So they still exist all over Maharashtra. And you will find at many places the prachar of Ramdas Swami is still going on. Okay, so I'm sure children, all of you like this story. So basically I liked very much. Okay, Sadhu from within and Kshatriya from without. So all of you are sadhus from within and you are students from without now. So you have to carry out your duties as a student. Okay, study a lot about history, study about the great personalities of our India. Okay, you can spend your entire life reading about Prabhupada, reading about Ramdas Swami, Shivaji Maharaj, Tukaram Maharaj, Rana Pratap, and so many more. Is Swami Samartha we hear of in Maharashtra, same as Ramdas Swami. Yes. Swami Samartha is same as Swami. He was called Samartha Ramdas Swami. Yes, so he is very much the same.
Haribol Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Hari Bol.
Prabhuji, I just want to comment one thing.
Yes.
So once you're done, I can just share something on Sajjangad.
Okay, okay, yes. Swarup
You can-
Damodar asking is who will be the next hero? Okay, next hero, we won't disclose it right now. Let hero have his own special entry. Okay? Yes, go ahead, Prabhuji. Gopalila Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful session. I just wanted to share one small incident about Sajjangad. So there's I'm not sure whether you're aware of this, and just for information of all the students as well, there's a wonderful camp which happens every year at Sajjangad, and they have entry of only 100 children. So generally it happens during the summer season, and I happened to go there just as a volunteer for a couple of days, and it was just amazing the way they teach the children the values, and the amazing 10 days there the children are there. So there is no, it's a very remote place where mobile hardly works. There is no range there, and it is somewhere around 40 kilometers from Pune, something like that, 40 or 50 kilometers. I don't recollect exactly what the details are, but it is just amazing. The volunteers and the people who are following this, they are also amazing, and they teaches the Manache Shlok during that 10 days, and they have proper schedule for children what
Okay.
needs to be followed. Just for
Okay,
the
okay.
everybody's information.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I just forgot to tell that ultimately Ramdas Swami left his body at Sajjangad, and today also you will find his Samadhi at Sajjangad. So Ramdas Swami is still laying in Samadhi over there, and the Samadhi Mandir was built by Chhatrapati Shambhaji Maharaj. Okay, Sajjangad. So all of you, whenever you get the chance next, please visit Sajjangad. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you for your enthusiasm to hear. It gives me enthusiasm to speak also. Okay, we don't know the date of his passing away, but we know the year of his passing away. Okay, matlab, I don't know. He passed away in the year 1681. Okay, so thank you very much, all of you. It was wonderful being with all of you. And I think your next session is on Sunday. Next session is on Sunday. So see you all on Sunday. Thank you very much. So Gopalila Prabhu, we should end this series. End this session.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Hari
everyone.
Bol, all of you.
I think so. Radhika has something to share. She is raising her hand.
Yes,
Let me-
Radhika.
Let me unmute her. Radhika?
Prabhuji, is like the next session this Sunday?
Yes.
Yes.
Day after tomorrow. So you mean day after tomorrow?
Yes, the day after tomorrow.
Great. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the class.
Thank you, all of you.